You see my fingers, you know I'm here. All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Ismortah. I know it's been a bit, and I'm excited to show you what I have to present today because this is actually release day. So the time is mwah. This is Ismortah, and this evening during my 7 p.m. Central board game stream, I'm going to be showing you a unboxing of Star Wars Legion Echo Base Defenders. And before I get into it, of course, if you like what you see, be sure to follow here at twitch.tv/Ismortah. And you can also see videos on YouTube if that's your thing at Shadow Balance Games. And be sure to tune into the latest on schedule and content updates over on Twitter at Shadow Balance. Alrighty. So, this is a starter set, which I assume means two different things. One is, as you see, it looks like a whole army of dudes. You're correct. It has a whole army of the Rebellion faction only, which is cool. So now if you want to jump into Legion, you can just say, oh, I want to play as the Rebels. You don't have to get two different factions with hardly anything to play with. That just teaches you how to play. It's not enough to actually do a tournament or standard game. This gives you everything you need for a standard game playing as the Rebellion, which is really cool. Now the second thing, which I assume is also in the box, is it gives you what you need to also fundamentally play the game. So that I'm not 100% on. I believe that may be the case. But in any case, I do know you do get a whole army's worth of dudes. All the core squads and specialists and other tools to feel the full 800 points. So, what do I mean? Of course, you see Leia. Of course, you're going to get Leia. But you get a whole sorts of shit. And as you see, it's all themed around Echo Base when they were defending Hoth from the Imperials. And so you get a whole bunch of shit, and we'll definitely dive into this. And again, this is an unboxing video, so I'm just going to show you what you get in the box. I'm not going to get heavy into the meta of what card combinations can do. Obviously, I have to assemble all these miniatures. We'll just show you in a future model reveal video. This does unboxing, show you what you get, and this is available in your local retailer today. All right, so here you get Leia and Chewbacca commanders. This is really cool. The fact I got Chewbacca, if you remember previous stream, the fact I was getting Chewbacca's armies, so now I can field this unit with them as well, which is cool. So I have 3 bowcaster dudes. You also get, looks like 9 Battle Force command cards. But for the models, which is really the coolest thing, is you also get 4 Rebel veterans, which are the core troops. You get 2 Tauntaun Riders, which is a light vehicle to go across the map. You get C-3PO and R2-D2, who I believe are either operatives or specialists. They're basically special units in the game. That obviously they don't do combat. It's some sort of utility function. And then you also have a FD laser cannon team, which are those giant lasers that were shooting at the vehicles that was trying to protect the generator. Cool. Well, but yeah, so this is all stuff you get. So you get 2 Tauntauns, 4 groups of rebels, C-3PO, R2-D2, a giant laser cannon, Leia, and Chewbacca. And Chewbacca is also cool because remember, if you got the Grandmaster Yoda commander, he has a card that if you play him with Chewbacca, he basically ride on his back and do some cool stuff with that command card. Cool. Well, let's see what all it is. So all of the plastic is going to be on sprues, which in industry is actually called frames. So you'll be able to see the size of what these miniatures are, but not really the detail because they'll be in pieces. But the main thing is to show you how much plastic you get. And also, I will show you individually all of the cards, so you can see what cards you get. And I believe there's some new, the command cards I believe are brand new. Whereas all of these models, if I recall, were previously available in other sets. This is just cool. You can say, hey, I just want to play as the rebels. I don't know what to get. And the fact it's all themed together, you'd be like, ooh, I'm gonna be this faction, and be all Arctic. It's cool. Plus, my slab here looks kind of Arctic, so I don't even need a map. I can just play right here, which is also awesome. Theming up. All right, so what do you get? You have a bunch of tokens in Punch, which we will get into that. This says read first, so we'll definitely glance at that, see what that's all about. Then you have a lot of plastic. I'll do some better shots, don't worry. And these are all actually not on frames at all. So that's actually makes it even easier. You don't have to punch them out. Now this is on a frame. This is, looks like C3PO and R2-D2 are on frames. Even our laser cannon is not on a frame. So this is actually easier to assemble too, because you don't have to file stuff down and pinch pieces out of the plastic. Then we got the cards, a bunch of cards, and all the bases. Bases as in what the plastic miniature stands on, not like, oh, I actually have the base of Echo base. No. Oh, actually I missed one. More plastic. So what's really cool is the majority of the stuff you're putting together in this set is not on a frame. And this is probably just on a frame because maybe this is new to the set or something. But yeah, most of it you can just glue it together. So that's cool. I do say one thing though I liked about the frames is they are typically numbered and lettered. So you know, oh, I need to put A2, glue it to A3. In case there's ambiguity on what the piece is, you're supposed to, if pieces look similar. Kind of like, I noticed a lot of pieces like in for example, the Ultimate Dormammu encounter for Crisis Protocol. It had a lot of pieces for the Dark Rift to look exactly alike, and you really need to know exactly what piece to put with what piece in what order, because they were so similar you might accidentally glue the wrong thing incorrectly. Anyway, so that's everything in the box. I like actually keeping the boxes until you finish the models, just because you can get a glance at what something's supposed to look like in case you don't know, or in case, I don't know if you're going to have the opportunity in this or not, if these are just one way to make the models. But it's a good way to also, if you, for example, like the Chewbacca expansion, Wookiee Warriors, I mean, when you had different variants you can make of the weapons and gear, that you can look at pictures and sort of think of what is it you want to make before you start committing to gluing pieces together. Be like, oh yeah, I want to make that. Like if you only have so many torsos, but you have more guns and weapons, for example, you could just kind of decide what you want to go with. I definitely see myself going with more of these laser cannons, because this is so cool. It just looks fucking cool. Like, I'm sure this is a sniper rifle, but it kind of doesn't look that good. Unless that's some sort of, like, bazooka or something. But these guns are cool. The anti-personnel guns. I can see them definitely doing that. So you can hold spots. Alright, so what do we got? So I'll save the cards for the end. We'll do plastic second. Punch third, cards last. How about that? Because like the plastic, you know, like I said, it's kind of over the place. There's a lot of pieces. So I want to keep it together kind of until I know how to build, because there might be a problem. So it looks like it says unread this first. Don't worry about trying to read it. I'll sum it up for you. But anyway, the nutshell is there's a QR code right here. And if you go to that, it'll take you to a place, then you can download the assembly instructions for all of this. And then it tells you on how to build this together. But it looks like there is assembly guide, but it's not in this. You have to go to the QR code to get the assembly guide. There's a lot of stuff to assemble. On this side, you have this pretty cool, almost a small poster of the front of the box, which is kind of worth keeping, honestly. And then just credits for people that worked on the game. But yeah, QR code, that's where you go to know how to build the stuff. Which I recommend not just eyeballing it, because the order of how you place stuff might be important if stuff slots together, so you don't necessarily want to assume. All right, so plastic. So, like I said, on this frame, it has, which is the only frame you get, has all the pieces it looks like to assemble R2-D2 and C-3PO. This, even though it's on frames, looks like it's kind of intuitive, so you may not need a QR code for this, for example, because, you know, the fact that C-3PO and R2-D2 are such distinctly different shaped robots that you kind of know, hey, these are legs, who they go on? C-3PO, obviously. All right, now we have a bunch of bases. I'm not gonna get this out, but see, like, you got the big base for the laser cannon with the dish. Then you have medium bases for the two groups of tauntauns. So see, what you see here is a group. So you have I'm assuming you have two groups of two tauntauns, four groups of this squad. And then, so like, this is like what you get, and these are multiples. So you should have 4 tauntauns, I believe. So anyway, because I'm looking at the number of bases, because I believe all the medium bases are for the tauntauns. Supnacker's TV. Then you have a bazillion small bases, this is for all the troops, and your commanders, and whatever they call C-3PO and R2-D2, which again, I don't know if it's an operative or a specialist, one of the two. Either way, it's like I said, it's utility function, non-combat, most likely. Maybe relaying orders or doing debuffs or inspiring troops or something. I don't know. Something along those lines, I would imagine. All right, so here's all the tauntauns. These I'm not gonna get out of the bag just because there's so much little shit, but I just wanna show you, like, you kind of see the shape of the tauntaun. Like, this is basically the body without the legs here. So it looks like maybe it is just you get 2. This looks like 2 of them. Maybe so. So 2 tauntauns, I believe. At least. I'm showing 2. And these are other pieces to make it. So I think that's to make those. And so that's cool, because like you can run around with beasts, because I really don't have a fact check that you actually use some sort of animal. It's just technology. So that's pretty cool. It's got lasers and beasts. Here it looks like all of the components for the laser dish. The biggest piece you'll be making. And then here are, yeah, it's like, I don't want to get it out necessarily because there's so many little pieces, but like this is all the troops. So it's like a lot of little pieces. Definitely recommend doing this one baggie at a time and make sure you have all the pieces before you start, and then follow the guide. So definitely go that QR code because you just want to make sure. There's so many. And this is packed, you know, who knows? Yeah, a lot of plastique. All right, so let's open up this punch. So so far, this actually looked pretty standard. This is it, but it looks like it's there's 2 sheets of punch. So, but it's basically all the tokens that you get, so you can feel this. It doesn't look like you get necessarily stuff to actually play the game without having the core, because I don't see measuring tools or other command cards. But that being said, if the only thing you're missing is the measuring tool, you could just buy separately the measuring tool. So, because if you get enough command cards and upgrade cards here, I'm trying to think what else you need to play the game. It may just be the measurement tools. So, and you could buy that separate. So that'd be a better deal if you just want to get your faction. Just get a measuring tool and this puppy. But if you already have the core set, then you're good to go. You just have now, like I do, another faction to play with. Which now I can add my Wookiees and my Luke Skywalker to this faction. So I have a lot of beasts. You got Wookiees and Tauntauns. Alright, so here's the punch. I'm not going to punch them out unless they fall out, because I need to organize it. But like, here's the punch. You've seen this stuff before. Different status tokens, hit tokens, stress tokens, suppression tokens, all that jazz. And then here you have the tokens you need to field stuff for the orders tokens and other hit and status tokens. The big ones are the for placing orders. Now, one thing this game doesn't do that they should provide, honestly, is a bag so that you can have players have their own bags to field the order tokens. So I definitely recommend using a little bag for that, because it does have to be random and you just need to grab it, and this makes the world easier. All right, so now lastly we have the cards. What cards do you get? These I'll show you one by one what they are, so you know. Because I believe it's recycled stuff that's come out before, but I believe the command cards are new, or has some new ones. All right, so let's see here. But I'll do the units first, since we're talking about units. So you got a shit ton of unit cards. These are all units, a lot of dudes. So as a reminder how this works, is for everything you're fielding that's a squad or a commander or a vehicle needs to have its own card, which means it also has its own order disc, if we're going to call it that. So obviously when you have all the shit, including like the other stuff I got previously, like the Wookiee Warriors and the Luke Skywalker, I may have too much shit to field, especially when you start doing upgrades and want to have additional units in a squad that are specialized. So in that case, you just see, hey, what is your playstyle and strategy, and you just kind of build to those 800 points. So you may not necessarily always field everything that you have here, but you got options, because there's a lot of stuff. All right, so let's go through it. All right, so these are all the unit cards that I'm showing. Here you have Chewbacca, and I'm not going to go through all the minutia of reading in the card. I'm just going to show you what it is, because you can always look at this later or pause it to read. And I'm also not super familiar with, nor in the meta for the game, so I'm not going to necessarily say, oh yeah, you know, if you have Guardian 3, they can do that combo with this card. I'll just leave that to you to divine. But that being said, the fact this guy is Guardian 3, he's great as a defensive unit for an escort, for keeping something alive. He's got pretty good, especially in close attacks, being red dice. And as a reminder, I know it's just being a longtime Armada player, is colors in this game does not work the same way as Armada. Armada, different colored dice worked with like different type of a weapon system, and so had particular different icons you're trying to get for that particular weapon, like either crits or different faces depending on weapon type, whether it was missiles, ion weapons, or laser weapons. On this game, that's not how it works at all. On this game, all of the dice have the same number of icons. The only difference is when you have a different colored dice, they're different tiers of dice. So like the most powerful dice in this game is red, if I recall, because it has less blanks. And then black is not as good, but better than white, and white's the worst. So having a lot of white dice is kind of the same as having a few red dice, based on the total number of possible sides that are favorable to you that you could roll, for example. So the fact that this has only 4 dice but it's red, really fucking good. And the fact that this has 4 dice that's 2 red and 2 white means it's, you know, it's decent bowcaster, but its in close is amazing. Let's see, we have R2-D2. Oh yeah, the other thing I want to point out on the card is look at how many hit points it has. He has 9 health. Bananas. All right, so we got R2-D2. It looks like he'd go on a secret mission in the game. That's pretty cool. Once per game, if you are within an enemy deployment zone, place 1 victory token on the card. At the end of the game, if you have a victory token from using this ability, gain that token. We have C-3PO. It looks like you can add him as an add-on to R2-D2 as an upgrade, and he's got some ability to calculate odds and distract, looks like. We have Leia Organa, who is a... One sec. So C-3PO is technically an upgrade. R2-D2 looks like is an operative. Same with Chewbacca. Leia Organa, though, is a commander. How I know that is by looking at the icon right here. So it looks like she can dodge fire and inspire troops, and a sharpshooter too. This all-around good unit that makes everybody live it better. Pretty all-around unit. Now we have Tauntaun Riders, and we do have 2. So that means you have 2 of them. So you have 2 of the cards, and you see here that on it, you see the 2 under the symbol. That symbol means the vehicle. The number underneath it means how many. So you do have 2 groups of 2 Tauntaun Riders. So when you move this around, the squad will be a group of 2. But you have 2 of them. So you can have all 4 going fast together, or have 2 like flanking the enemy or something. So that's pretty cool. I was hoping you had like many of them. So that's pretty cool. So this has pretty decent amount of hit points. It obviously has... So you see an example here. It's got 3 dice in close attack and 2 at ranged. You think, oh, it's more dice, it's better. Well, it's kind of the same because you have 2 black dice and 1 white, so it's a little bit better. But then the other one, you have 2 red. So really the blaster weapon is a bit more choice than in close. But in close, it also has Ram 1, and I don't know what that does, but that sounds like it might be a really powerful ability. So in close, you're not necessarily doing heavy damage, more just like whatever the effect is of Ram. And it's got some other abilities as well, including Agile 1, which is awesome. And you'll also notice in the red, that's the speed that you use on the unit. Like this is speed 3. Typically units are speed 2, like you see Leia. You only see 2 red. And whereas the droids, I'm assuming, are like, yeah, speed 1. Slow as shit. Basically, you have normal speed, shambling like a zombie, or fast like a vehicle. All right, now next we have the 1.4 FD laser cannon team, which is basically big-ass laser that I'm sure you just upgrade with adding additional units to the tank. Or maybe that just for flair. But yeah, the gun has a lot of hit points, as you saw. Its fixed cannon that could shoot 1 to 5 radius is 5 black dice. That's fucking murder. Murder. Holy fucking shit. And then medium distance, you have your troops that can shoot blaster pistols. But in close unarmed, it's basically troops punching, which is kind of decent. 2 black, not great. But God, its laser cannon is insane and has impact too. It's like, ugh. Yeah. If you're in front of that cannon, you're going to have a bad day. All right, so now you have Rebel Veterans. These are the core units. So you have 4 of these in squads of 4. So when you saw additional guys, that means they're either specialists that you can field by themselves for a couple units, like strike teams, or they're upgrades that you can add additional unit to the squad. Normally to add a special ability, a special weapon to the squad. So notice they have Defend 1, so they're kind of easier to dodge, but they're weak as shit, just as, you know, troopers are. Mark II Medium Blaster Trooper. That was the trooper that you saw that had the gigantic gun, recall? So, here, let me show you again right quick. So looking at this here, you have 4 squads with Rebel Veterans. These are heavy weapons you can add to this group, whereas this looks like it's a specialist that I have to see whether it can field by itself or you add to the group. But see, this has the heavy base, medium base. Mowing down guys, because that's anti-personnel weapon. And as you see here, same thing, like it's got decent hit points, kind of like that giant laser, but look in the front, murder for troops, murder. Not as far distance, but still 4 black dice and crit 2, and cumbersome means just like it goes slow as shit. You probably can't move and shoot the same move because you're basically setting up this gun and then it's murder mode. But man, that is murder. It looks like it's got it in it. But it's interesting that you can deploy it by itself. It has its own card and everything for one. So you can just like have this troop with a gun. So that's kind of cool. So you can have like your armies of troops moving, but then you can have encampments that you have 2 different laser batteries and then an anti-tank battery sitting somewhere else. So they can have a whole bunch of battery emplacements. It's pretty cool. Independent of the troops. Well, that's all the cards. You just have, like I said, you just have a lot of duplicates of the same things. A lot of different things you can field. All right. Lastly, now we have the command cards and then the upgrade cards. And then that is it. I definitely want to keep this short and sweet because it's just an unboxing. I say it's almost 30 minutes, so I want to get to it. But it's just exciting. A lot of cool shit. All right, so these are command cards. Here you have ambush, push. The dots you see determines priority. Smaller priority goes first. The higher number goes last, but typically hits for a bigger punch. That was assault. Standing orders, because here it tells you how many units you can command when you do it. And then sometimes there's special abilities here. Coordinated bombardment. No time for sorrows. Plus sometimes these cards like this one tells you if you're restricted on what commander can do it. Like this, it has to be Leia Organa on the top here. And then in this case, you move 2 units and Leia Organa. And that one was called Somebody Has to Save Our Skins. Common Cause. This one, you move Chewbacca and Leia. Boom. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Chewbacca and Luke Skywalker. And here I have Chewbacca now, and I got Luke Skywalker. I didn't even know that combo existed. Buzzing. Amazing. And now here you have Chewbacca and Leia. So you have different cards and combos that you can use people together and move them. Awesome. Here's Chewbacca and Han Solo. That's the one I don't have. I do not have Han Solo. Even R2-D2 has his own command card. Blast off. Impromptu Immolation. That was movement R2-D2, and this one looks like it's a attack kill R2-D2. Oh, and here's defensive R2-D2. Smokescreen. So that's interesting. It looks like you can use him as a commander. And then you can upgrade him with C-3PO also. That's pretty cool. All right. Then we have delaying tactics. And as you see here, you move one unit, but it has to be an echo-based defender, which these are. Courage of the Rebellion, 2 echo-based defenders. And hold at any cost, 3 echo-based defenders. Which is basically what it looks like is, it's just like the basic cards you get, but then you get a bonus ability because you're restrictive that it has to be this echo-based force, which is what's like, okay, well that's all I'm playing with, so who cares? All right, so that's all the command cards. Now I'll show you the upgrade cards. These should not be anything new, but at least you'll be able to see and expect what combos you can get if this is all you get. Which is honestly all you need. Like, I just got some other toys for fun with it, because I always wanted to have, Luke Skywalker, obviously. And I wanted to get Chewie since I wanted to get the Wookiee Warriors just because I was getting Chewie, so you can have a band of whatever the sound he makes. All right, here we go. So these are all unit cards. You can add a trooper. So this is like one of the cards that you can add an additional trooper to your Rebel veterans that uses a particular weapon. In this case, is CMO-93, which looks like just a longer range blaster. And you have 4 of those total. Here's the other 3. You can have Rebel Veteran, big surprise there. Then you can add another Rebel Veteran mini. And so that's what it is when you look at the back of this box. Is you can add a 5th troop, and then you can also add someone with that special longer range rifle. Then you also have Endurance. You have 2 of those. Environmental gear, obviously, because you're in an environment which will have weather conditions and terrain conditions because of the cold, obviously. So that's probably a good one to use if you want to theme it up. You get 4 of those. Overwatch, you also get 4. So it's cool because so that way you can have like all of your core troops suited up, ready for winter, and with Overwatch can go pew pew. Hold your ground and pew pew. You also have Commanding Presence. Tenacity, obviously because you have Chewbacca and close attacks. Comms Jammer, maybe with R2-D2. 2 of those. Actually, what Comms Jammer is good with is actually the Tauntauns, because you can have them quickly race to the enemy lines and jam the communication so they can't give orders to the other units. That way you can move your slow, cumbersome weapons like your anti-personnel guns and beat them to the punch because they're not getting immediate orders. Targeting scopes. Barrage generator. It looks like it's an improvement to fixed weapons, which is cool. Overcharge generator. Linked targeting array. Vigilance. And again, like if you like what you're seeing, expect more videos like this as other Battle Force boxes come out and other cool stuff here at twitch.tv/Ismortah. Be sure to follow. Portable scanner. Duck and cover. Situational awareness, you have 4 of those. So you can do it for all of your troops. But actually, it's better if you put it on, it looks like a vehicle. Because that's a vehicle symbol. But you have 4 of those. Cool, and that is all of the cards. And again, that sniper weapon you see, it's basically a longer range rifle. Not quite as long as sniper, but longer than close range, so you can get some pot shots. But yeah, you get a lot of cards, so, the tokens you need, and a shit ton of plastic dudes that you can have fun building and painting English, that I want to do eventually as well. But yeah, you definitely get, if you just want to say, hey, I want to play as the Rebels, you have the feel of everything, not just saying, oh, I moved troops. You have squads of troops, light vehicles, large-ass guns, some iconic characters from the movies. Cool shit. Well, thanks for watching. Again, expect more stuff like this in the future, as well as when I assemble all the stuff, I have a video showing you all the models and all of their glory. And expect my next stream, finally, I know, to be Marvel Champions She-Hulk versus Rhino. Rhino, I'm going to be doing a little bit tailored deck. Probably put in either another module that he has or a modular scenario adding to it. But yeah, it'll be a different scenario than I did before against Rhino, and I'm also using a custom She-Hulk deck that I made. Not what they tell you to do. So definitely min-max that. It'll be fun. Collision of the Powerhouses. Be sure to check that out Monday, 7 p.m. Central, if interested. Well, thanks for watching. Again, this is Ismortah. Catch you next time.